Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? I'm just taking the rake up here to the biogas plant. Number one, because we haven't actually looked at the biogas plant yet, and number two, because I want to try something a little bit different, because I think it's going to speed up the entire process of making silage. So I'm just going to leave this one up here, and I really had a look around here yet. So we've got the bin is right there, and we've got two quite large clamps actually. Does it say when we leap into the clamps here, does it actually give us an indication of how much they can take in them? Just says 0 and 0%. So no, we've got no indication of how much we can actually put in them. I'm guessing it's a fair slice. They look quite wide. They're not quite as long as the other ones, but they are very wide. So we're going to just run around the edge here, and we're going to park this rake right about there, I think. Now, my weekly question this week, let's just turn that one round, because we've got to go and get something else in just a second. There we go. Whoop. Right, weekly question this week is, which silage trailer would you like me to use when we start doing our silage? Would you like me to use the Broughan 18-foot, 28,000 litre trailer? Do you want me to use the Fortuna FTM 200, 33,000 litre trailer? Do you want me to use the Kaweco Radium 50, 33,000 litre trailer? That one's got the opening and closing lids. Do you want me to use the ACE10 Marston Silage trailer? So it's a bit smaller, but it's a more traditional type of silage trailer, at least here in the UK. I don't know about the rest of the world. And finally, we have the Veenhuis W400 36,000 litre trailer. It's your vote, it's your game. Head in the comment section down below, let us know which one you want and why, and of course don't forget to actually cast your vote in the top right hand corner. So I'm going to whiz off up to the shop, and we're going to lease a different rake today, because I think that this is going to speed things up a little bit, and we haven't actually looked at this rake yet, despite me saying some time ago on one of the other series that we would look at it when we were able to. So I will go and get that one. I will bring it back down here to the field so that we can get started using it, and while I'm doing that I will also empty out that combine. We have almost finished doing the combining at long last. It's taking a little while, but we have almost done it now. I'm just whizzing back to the field now, and we have the Kuhn Merge Maxx 902, and this one should be able to dump everything that we produce straight off the side, and you've got various different settings that you can use on this one. So let's just unhitch it. We want to change it round so that this one goes on to what will become the back of the tractor. So let's just change the tractor around a second. There we go. And so yeah, what you do is you put this one going on the back, and you can change the direction of flow of the grass that you pick up. So let's bring that one out. We'll unfold this one a second and we'll take a look at it. So it comes out like that and drops down. So you have an option to collect the grass, and right, so you can turn on, fold, change tool selection, work mode left, work mode right, and then you can lift that piece up like that, work mode middle. So what it will do is it will pick everything up and it will leave it in a row in the middle, so you've got a 9-meter swath, roughly the same as what we were using just now. Or you can put it to so that it all goes out to the left of the machine and it all runs out and drops down on that side, or you can have it going out on the right and it will all run out and drop down on that side. So to start with, we're going to put it out onto the left, and I'll get these mowers on now, and I'm hoping that it will sort of keep everything moving. Right, let's get those loaded on as well. I'm hoping that it will sort of keep everything fairly neat and tidy on the corners as well, because the steering of the machine, it sort of follows your tractor. I'm hoping that everything will sort of stay neat and tidy and sort of follow everything round. So we want to do twice more around the field, and then we'll start doing a bit of land work. So I've got to switch everything on now. So I'll switch on the front one, switch on the back one, switch on the merger, and yes, it's moving the belts in the correct direction at the moment. So now if I move to that one, in theory, if I press Control V, everything drops down. There we go. That's dropped down on that side. So let's start with the mowers. The mowers are a fraction narrower than the rake itself, so we will end up mowing the swath that we're placing down now. In real life, you wouldn't really want to do that. You'd want the swath to be sort of out part way from where you are, but generally speaking, I think it's going to be okay. I mean, you look at that, picking it up. It's got a nice animation on it. I like the animation on it. See, and I'm drifting a little bit there. I don't want to do that. Now, how do we do the corner? I think what we're going to have to do for the corner is we're just going to have to come straight up here. And then I pick the mowers up. Like that. And I move on forward with the merger. And then Control V should pick the merger up now. There we go. Right. We can come back round. Now this is going to be always the tricky bit with using this setup, is getting round on the corners and everything. This ideally is sort of for a bigger, I would say it's for a bigger setup than we've got here, really. This is supposed to be the smaller end of the week. As someone pointed out last week, yes, Frith, he told everyone that he fully intended for this to be the big end of the week, and he's busy using the largest tractor in the known world. Yeah, fair point, really. But in my defence, that was just a one-off, and I do try to use the smaller stuff, and I will continue to try to use the smaller stuff. It's just not always quite as successful as I would have hoped. But I feel that using this is a valid thing to do, even for a small farmer. Not necessarily the farmer would do it themselves. This is the kind of job that they would get the contractor to come in and do. Now, we could just use the small stuff like a farmer would use in real life, which would be a small side-mounted mower, and he'd run around and go and spend ages doing the fields. That's great and all, but it makes for a rather boring video, I feel. So that is why I have chosen to go big or go home. And now if I press Control V, it should pick up the back one. Excellent, there we go. I'm getting the hang of this, you know. I am finally starting to get the hang of how to play Farming Simulator. It's only taken 5 years. Right, lower the front, move on, and then Control V to lower everything, and because half of it's already down, it's only that bit that's going to lower down. There we go. It is leaving out sort of a stripe of grass out the side, but that's okay. We'll see how it sort of works out when we do our next pass. And we can either switch the direction of flow of the grass on the rake itself, or we can just simply turn the tractor around and start going in the other direction. Now, should I have pulled out and turned properly then, or is that going to be okay? It'll probably be okay. Time we get back in here with the forager. The reason that I want to do it like this is because we're going to be going around with the forager with a pickup reel on the front, and so if we've got wider swaths, the forager will get round the field a bit faster. It should speed the process up a little bit. We're going to be trying. We're going to try and use the follow me, and we're going to try and do the. Oh, what was the other one? Well, we use the hide help, but I'm also, because I've had so many people asking me to use Courseplay, and I have finally relented and said that I will seriously consider using Courseplay. So it might be that this is the ideal opportunity for us to actually set up Courseplay and get started with that. So our first time round, what we're going to do is we're going to flip the tractor around, rather than changing the direction of flow of the grass. I'm just going to start mowing down this way. So I'll lower the mowers back down. I am now going to have to actually mow over the grass that we've already cut, which is the bit that I don't particularly want to like that we've got to do. But, you know, needs must. And it's gathering up all the grass just fine. And yes, it's mowing it. In real life, it would struggle to mow it. It would do it. It would definitely do it. But you wouldn't have a very neat and tidy cut where you've thrown the grass on top of the swath already. You would have a little bit of a mess left there, left behind as you went along. What you'd do is you'd throw you'd kind of, as you went along, the grass would be thrown close to where you're going to be cutting on the next pass, but it wouldn't actually go onto the grass that you've already cut, that you've yet to cut. I mean, right. Let's lift both of those up like that, and now if I come up like that. The problem with reversing with this one is if you get it just a tiny little bit too tight, just as you go to turn, if you get the turn just a fraction out, it's only got to be a tiny little bit. It's too sharp, and as you keep going backwards, it just gets sharper and sharper and ends up breaking something. Right, let's lower that one down. I'm quite liking this. Let's get rid of the map for a minute. We don't need that one there. Right. Next pass. Can I do this by not being able to see in front of me very well? Probably not, but I will give it a good go. There we go. Actually, I'm not doing too bad there, even if I do say so myself. Let's come over and I'll lift the front. Go on a little bit further just to make it tidy there. Lift the back a bit. There we go. Right, and then come back round. Straighten up. I'm starting to get this. I've been thinking about whether or not we should do field 25. You know that steep one up the top? And we did go to have a look at it, and then we found out that we can't actually get into it. And a couple of people have sent me screenshots of their own saves on this map. And what they've done is they've put down some ramps, which is kind of what I was thinking that we might try. So we may go up and try that. We'll do this field here, and then we're going to need a bit more grass than this in order to do our silage. The only issue with doing field 25 is it's a long way to pull the silage all the way back to the clamp. So I'm thinking that possibly we would do that as bales up there, although... So, yeah, because I'm thinking that we'd do it as bales, we've done a lot of bales recently. I've just done bales on Goldcrest Valley, and I've also got bales tomorrow in the time-lapse. And yes, I am sort of a little bit of a spoiler alert, but I don't think it's going to spoil very much. I've got a beautiful mod that I use on that one for tomorrow's episode. It's absolutely fantastic. I genuinely love that mod. It is awesome. So yeah, I'm doing a load of silage on this, so I'm thinking that we won't actually go up and do field 25 this time round. We will just do this field here. We'll do the one just over the hedge there, and then we'll sort of stop and we'll have a look. Might do a bit more, we might not. Probably going to be enough, actually, these two fields. I mean, maybe we'll do a little bit in the next field as well. I'm not quite sure, but we'll see how much time we've got. We've got the trees that we've got to go round on this one. So there we go. There is another round around the outside of the field, and that should give us plenty of room now to start doing the land work. We can just move straight up and down. We'll go up and down this side of the field, keep everything sort of flowing together. There we go. It does take a little while for that for the rake to sort of pick up the merger. And have you ever seen one of these, the self-propelled version? There is a self-propelled one of these in real life, and I gotta say it does look pretty fantastic. Now, only problem here is I don't want it going out to the left. I want this to go to the right, so we're going to have to change the direction of flow. Can you do that while it's running? No, you can't. So what we got to do... Oh, hang on. No, I'm on the wrong machine anyway. There we go. Lower... Oh, I can change the mode while I'm working. So let's just take a look at the belt there. That should stop it. Yep, it stops the belt, and then it just starts moving it the other way. So it doesn't actually change anything too drastic, and it's now working on the right-hand side. So let's lower that, and there we go. Right, that's going to put it onto the uncut grass. Because you can also just chuck it into the middle, and we might actually do that just on one pass around the outside, so that we end up doing 3 times around the outside with mowers, which would end up being 2 swaths around the outside of the field, which I think would work out okay. We've got those trees we've got to go around in just a second, but that should... that'll work out just fine as well. And the other thing is, can we use the hired help? I don't think we can, really. I don't think there's enough room to engage the hired help on this field, which is a bit unfortunate. Maybe we can do it on the next field. We'll have to have a play around with that. Right, that one lifts up. We do have to be a little bit careful that we don't accidentally drive into the river on this field. That would be an unmitigated disaster. Up a little bit further, and lower down again. I'm having a lot of fun with this merger, and it's doing it all in one go as well. It does make it more fun when you can use both machines together all in one pass. That does look pretty fantastic. That does look very cool. There's no denying that. Even the most hardened of players has got to admit that that does actually look pretty cool. Now, does that stop thing, I don't know what it's called, would it hit the tree? Would it actually cause a collision with the tree? I don't know about that. Bit of a nuisance having the trees in the middle, but however, some countries it's illegal to remove any tree from the middle of your field. Others, it depends where you live in the country. Here in the UK, if you live in an area that has been designated a green zone, any tree that is over a set age, I think it's any tree that is more than 2 years old, you have to obtain a special license in order to be able to cut it down. If you live elsewhere, you can pretty much do what you like. Certain trees will have a preservation order placed on them here in the UK, and very often your preservation, because I live in a zone, an area that hasn't been like designated an area of outstanding natural beauty or anything like that. Now, to get through here, I'm thinking that we should change direction of flow again. So if I just go to the rake and I press Y, what's it done? Is it flowing to the middle? No, it's not flowing to the middle. Why aren't you flowing to the middle? Lift, merger, fold. Oh, I've got to actually switch it off to do this. To be able to lift the middle part, you do actually have to switch it off, by the look of it. Right. Lift. Oh, no, it might just be because it's got to be in the air. I turn it on. Yes, that's what you've got to do. You've actually got to lift it up into the air in order to be able to do it. It doesn't matter if it's running, it's just got to be up in the air while you do it. So you can't change it while it's full of grass, because that would, in real life, obviously, that would overload the capacity of the belt and everything. It could cause a serious issue with it. So let's lower that one back down again, there. And now we're just going to, it's just going to centralize it as we go through the trees, because we don't have enough room here to sort of put everything all into a very large swath. So we'll just come through there like that, and now I'm going to lift it again, and I think out this side I should be okay. So we've only got to just go through, when we come through the trees in the middle, we've only got to do it like a little bit. So that's going out to the left, and that should now go out to the right. So if I lower it back down again, away we go, there we go, that's going out on the correct side now. So if we come up through, and then we'll have to see when we go around the tree on the other side. I'm not sure how well that's going to work. So yeah, preservation orders on trees. Occasionally you'll get like a big old oak tree or something like that that has a preservation order on it. But generally, if you live in an area that doesn't have, is not a green zone or an SSI, which is area of special scientific interest, if you don't live in one of those zones, you can cut down the trees if you want to. It's entirely up to you. I'm sure there must be some kind of regulations, but on the other hand, I hesitate to say that there are no regulations. However, I've seen plenty of people going along and deciding, right, the hedgerow along the edge of that field, which is full of mature trees, it's only mature trees on that hedgerow, you know what, we need to remove that hedgerow and, you know, take it right back down to stumps all the way along so it's a neat and tidy hedgerow, and they just go right through and whack the whole lot down without any sort of repercussions or needing permissions or anything like that. So I do wonder if there is actually any, in certain places, whether there is any regulations or not. Right, let's bring that one up, change it to the left and back to the right, lower it down, and then we can put this lot in a big swath. I know that the swaths are sort of swapping and changing here a little bit, but I think we're going to end up with a fairly easy run when we do come through with the forager. Let's lift everything up. There we go. Spin it on round, and now this pass here, I'm wondering which side of the tree we should go. I think we will go to the left of the tree as we're facing it now. So let's lower that all down a second. There we go. And we'll do the same again. I'm going to change the direction of flow in a minute. I'll come over this side. Now I'm going to change the direction of flow, and I'm actually going to put this right out to the left this time rather than to the right. Oh no, I need to just change over to the back one. So we lift it up, and now if you watch, it's going to raise the middle section, and then it's going to lower the middle section back in, and now it's all flowing to the left. Lower that one back down. That's going to send it out that side, which I'm hoping will be right out of the way of the tree. And it'll sort of be over towards the other bit. So now I can stop again, raise it back up, and move it over to the right. Is it moving? Yes, it is going to the right way. And we should be okay to carry on now. It's going out, back out to the right hand side, which means that when we come back up through, we'll dump the next pass straight on top of this lot, and we should have a neat and tidy finish at the finish. A neat and tidy finish at the finish. A neat and tidy field at the finish is what I mean to say. Yeah, the whole preservation order thing. I've seen loads of trees being chopped down all over the place. And I also know that if you do live in an area that is designated a green zone, it's very difficult to be allowed to cut down trees. And you might think sometimes that's a good thing. You don't want all the trees just being chopped down just because, you know, that they might happen to be in the way a little bit. But on the other hand, it can become a bit of a nuisance because a lot of trees, and certainly the country that I live in, the countryside itself has sort of evolved over the last 2,000 years to depend on people cutting the trees down on a regular basis. If you've got large stands of mature trees that aren't cut down at all, there's a very limited amount of wildlife that is actually able to be sustained in that area. Now, I'm going to have to change this one over yet again. I think we'll just centralise this little bit just as we go past a tree. So if I want to go there like that, and then lift it, press Y to centralise it, lower it back down again. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. What was I saying? The trees, yeah. The countryside has like kind of come to depend on the trees being regularly cut. Now, you could argue that many thousands of years ago, the trees weren't regularly cut and they were just fine. Yes, that is true. But in our country, most of the country was a large swath of forest, and that's no longer the case. You only get like patches of woodlands now. And if the area is coppiced, i.e. the trees are cut down to a stump level on a regular basis, not all of them, but, you know, sort of thinned out. So the bigger trees are chopped down to a stump level, and every 3 or 4 years, the biggest trees have this done to them. The area actually completely flourishes. You get far more wildlife and plants and animals all growing together than you do if you just have the trees. Because the thing with mature trees, they're very selfish. Mature trees are very, very selfish. They take all the light and all the nutrients out of the soil, which means that all the other plants don't get those nutrients. And yes, there are a lot of animals that rely on just the trees themselves to live, but there are so many more that rely on other things as well. So if those other plants are allowed to flourish, you get a much wider range of biodiversity. So in some places where you've got all the that you class as the green zone, they still allow tree felling in order to sort of maintain this equilibrium with plants, animals and trees. But in some places they kind of forget about this, and you can see those because you've got loads of wonderful well-established trees, and there's very little else to go with it, which is a real shame. Because if you ever go to a woodland and you compare the difference between woodland that has had trees felled recently and woodland that has had trees that have been there for a very long time with nothing sort of felled in between, you'll see a vast difference under the trees. The trees themselves flourish, they do wonderfully, but the rest of the plants, they're missing in the established woodland. They're just not there. And unless you go to like the open spaces where one of the trees has died or something like that. And yeah, so it's kind of an odd thing, really. And it's nice to see. And how did I start talking about this? Yeah, the trees there in the middle of the field. So yeah, it's nice to have the odd tree in the middle of the field, but it's easy to get caught up in the whole we should never chop down any trees because it's really bad for the environment. When in actual fact, you will find that it is probably better for the environment to regularly cut the trees down. And yeah, it's just something that I was thinking about, so I thought I would talk about it a bit today. And I'm not really sure why. We haven't really done as much as I hoped. I thought that we would get a bit more grass done, but getting around those trees in the middle of the field has sort of slowed us down a bit, hasn't it? So we'll just get up here. We're going to get started in the next field because this is the final pass of this field. There we go. Let's go on to there and then Control, and that should lower that one down. Through we go, and that's it. We're done. Right. Let's pick that one up like that. Now I've got to switch everything off and fold it up. Switch that one off and fold it. Switch that one off and fold it. Switch that one off and fold that one as well. Right. This one does fold up in a very cool fashion, I think. I like the way that it picks up and folds. Some of the machines, when you drive tractors and when you're moving from one field to the other, that's always, when I was working as a farmer, one of my favourite parts of any job it was doing the outside round in the field. I always enjoyed doing the outside round in the field, getting established in the field and getting started. Now, how do we get in there? I think the only one is that gate at the top. We're going to go right up round. Yeah, getting established was a good bit. And, you know, doing the outside round. It was always kind of an interesting bit, getting everything lined up, getting everything sorted out. That was great fun. The other bit was always folding. When you finish the field, do the final pass across the field, fold everything up, and move on to the next field, especially if you've got to go through a few tracks and stuff and you've got bigger machinery. I always love the challenge of getting big machinery through small gateways. It's always fun. I never grew tired of doing that, and shifting all the gear from one place to the next. Great fun. I loved doing that. And then you've got being able to just look at some of the stuff. You know, some of it when it folds up, it's like really quite dull and straightforward. Some machinery, when you're folding it up, it looks absolutely awesome. Just the way that things will unfold and fold up. Actually, you know, we'll leave the gates open, I think, so that we can get in and out easier. The way that they folded and unfolded as you go through to the different fields, it just looked awesome. There's something about it as you fold and unfold the machinery that I just found mesmerising. It was absolutely brilliant to watch. I genuinely loved doing that. It was one of my favourite parts. Right. We'll do one round around the outside here. I don't think we're going to have much time for anything else. So let's get that started. We'll start moving down here. And we're going to have to keep a little bit out from the hedge because of the size of the rake, aren't we? I'll come forward a bit more. I think that's probably going to be it about there. And unfold this one. We'll centralise this first pass around the field, and then we'll do the same as we did the other one. We'll have one pass for one swath for one pass around the edge, and then we'll move in after that. So, yes, I need to have that middle piece raised up like that. So just lower those two down, switch that one on, and yes, I think we can just go like this. There we go. And I do have to stay out a little bit from the hedge there because of the size of the rake that we're using, the swather. But we don't have to stay that far out, do we? We're able to do this okay. So I will finish this field, and I think that we'll cut that one there. We'll just do that one. We'll do this one here, and we'll do that one over there, because just this field and the one next door that we've already cut is not really going to be enough for a silage harvest, I don't think. I mean, there is going to be a fair bit of silage from this, but I think it wouldn't hurt to just get that extra field in there as well. Probably could go a little bit tighter to the fence, but it doesn't pay to be too greedy. We can stick the sheep in here after we're done, and they can just go around and get the pickings from the edge. They'll be fine. Clean it up quite nicely for us as well. And then everybody's happy. The sheep are fed, and we've got a neat, tidy field at the finish. How big is the other field? That's the next thing. Field 12 is a fair size, isn't it? But then field 25, the other one that I was thinking of doing, that's a fair size as well. But I have ruled out now doing field 25 with this silage harvest because of the distance that we would have to take the silage. I don't want to be carting silage that far. I think it would be... I don't think it would be very efficient. I think it would end up costing us a lot of time and end up getting quite dull to watch. So we won't do that. We'll come up here, swing it round like this, and we will stop right there, raise that one up, move it over to... Right, that's going out to the right, isn't it? Let's just look at this. Yeah, stops and moves the other way. There we go. That's perfect. That's what we want. Lower it down, and away we go again. Excellent. That's working quite nicely. This field is only going to be, this field's going to end up being like just 2 rounds, isn't it? I'm not going to stay here and finish this entire field before the episode finishes. Actually, we'll quickly look at the question. So next week, when we come to start picking up all of this silage, which trailer would you like me to use to do it with? Would you like me to use the Broughan 18-foot, 28,000 litre trailer? Do you want me to use the Fortuna FTM 200, 33,000 litres? I had several people say, why didn't I include the Flegel Bull, that one there? Purely because I know how popular that trailer is. I wanted to have a look at some of the other trailers that we don't really see being used. So that's why I kept that one out of the equation. Yeah, so it was the Fortuna 200. That one is 33,000 litres. The Kaweco Radium 50, 32,000 litres with the opening and closing top doors. The slightly smaller ACE10 Marston Silage trailer, so only 20,000, but it's a more traditional style of silage trailer for those of us in the UK. Like I said before, I'm not sure about the rest of the world, but that is definitely something that I have used a lot. And then finally, we have the Veenhuis W400, and that one is 36,000 litres. So it's your vote, it's your game. Head in the comment section down below, let us know which one you want and why. And of course, don't forget to actually cast your vote in the top right hand corner. Okay, can we do this without having to stop and back round the corners? I think we can for this pass at least. We probably won't be able to do it on the next pass. We'll probably have to stop and back round the corners on the next time round. This one's going to be a bit tight, but what we'll do is we'll do the traditional, or my traditional method of mowing is that. And I was always told to do it like that because generally when I was mowing for silage, we didn't have a rake. We weren't going to go around with a rake. It was just where the mower left it, because the mower would leave it in a swath. So you do the corners like that, and then at the end you just kind of make an X shape on the ends of the field and go once out and once back into the middle on each of the corners to get those corner bits. And then when the person on the forager goes in, they go twice around the outside of the field, then they pick up the X, and then they start doing all the rest of it. That's just the way that I was used to do it. Now we'll switch over, and I'm going to have to say goodbye. We have run out of time once again. It happens so frequently. Now then, stop there, like that. I'm really looking forward. Just pick that one up. There we go. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing this silage harvest. I think this is going to be great fun to do this. Right, that's centralised, so now we've gone out to the left side. That's perfect, that's what I want. Move up there. And back up, and there. Perfect. Right, let's lower the mowers down, and in we come, and then the back comes down as well. And it's putting it all out the right side. So, yes, today I would like also a few suggestions as to what mods you would like to see me using when we're actually picking up the silage. I'm going to use a forager and trailers. I'm not doing it with the other, what are they called? Forage wagons, of course. I'm not doing it with forage wagons. It'll be a forager and trailers. And incidentally, I seen the other day working in a field a forage trailer. It was working across the field. Now you might not think that is particularly unusual. It is for me. I can count the number of times that I have actually seen a forage trailer working in a field in this country on one hand, if you don't count my father. He used to have forage trailers because the farm that he worked on, he was using a forager pulled behind the tractor. And one time, it was quite breezy on their farm. It was right up on top of the hill, and it was a little bit windy. And one year, when they were doing their silage, they ended up having to go across all of the rows of grass in the fields, rather than up and down with the fields, because the wind was so strong that it was actually blowing the grass out of the trailers. And so they ended up having to do it like that. And in order to avoid, it took them ages to do it like that. They didn't have a rake available to rake it the other way, and so yeah, they decided that was it. They weren't going to do that anymore, and they bought 2 forage wagons, and they were the only ones for miles around that had forage wagons. They had to import them, I think. I believe they had to import them. They were difficult to get hold of, and so they used these 2 forage wagons. Other than there, I have only seen forage wagons at work in the English countryside twice. In all of my memory, I can only remember seeing them twice. Just twice. I seen them once 2 days ago, and I seen them once about 4 years ago working in a field. There were 4 of them working in a field. I know there were 4 because I seen 2 of them in the field, and I seen 2 other ones racing up and down the road. One of them was just leaving with a full trailer, and the other one was just coming back with an empty trailer. 2 of them were working up and down in the field. And it looked really efficient. It looked really cool, actually, because I'd never seen it. And these were huge beasts of machines, not like the one that my dad used to have. His was a bit like the Pottinger one, the starting one in here. The ones I've seen working in the fields were like the big expensive ones that you see that are actually in the game. But yeah, so I have actually seen them, but it's very, very, very rare. I don't know about the rest of the country. I live down in the West Country of the UK, so other parts of the UK, they may be a more common sight, but they certainly weren't. I'm missing a great big slice there. But yeah, anyway, I've gone on and on and on way too long today. So if you've enjoyed this episode, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. If you want me to see me doing a little bit more mowing next episode, then please let me know, and I will save a little bit of that next field for the first episode next week. Otherwise, I will get all the mowing finished and we will get stuck straight into our silage next week. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.